The Rewrite API is probably the most dangerous API WordPress has to offer, and that's because even during the development phase of your plugin or theme, it can destroy your site. So to kind of keep things from getting too hectic, this lecture will only be a light introduction to this API. The Rewrite API allows you to modify the URL structure of WordPress. The SEO-friendly URLs you see being generated are all thanks to the htaccess file and WordPress rewrite rules. The ability to add more rules or customize existing ones are all possible with the Rewrite API. In the resource section of this lecture, I provide a link to this API. Here's what WordPress has to say about it. WordPress allows theme and plugin developers to programmatically specify new custom rewrite rules. The following functions, which are mostly aliases for WP rewrite methods, can be used to achieve this. Let's explore how URLs are stored and what makes the Rewrite API work the way it does. First, let's open the htaccess file. You can find this file in the root installation of your WordPress site. Open this file and let's check out what's so important about it. This file allows you to control how a site works by directly editing some of the server's settings. It's important to understand that Apache, not PHP, reads this file. If you have an error in this file, then you'll end up destroying your whole site. So editing this file should be taken with extra care. The commands you'll find inside this file aren't really newbie friendly, but let's go through it one by one. First, you'll find these hashtags with some text after it. These are considered comments, so you're free to type whatever you want after these tags without breaking the site. Next up is this conditional statement. It's written in an odd fashion, but keep in mind that this isn't PHP. What this line does is check if a module called mod rewrite is enabled. If it is, then the rest of this code will execute. The mod rewrite module makes it possible for URLs to have user-friendly URLs rather than having a lot of question marks, ampersand signs, etc. Inside this statement is code that will intercept all URL requests and make the index.php file control the requests. First, we're instructing Apache to turn on the rewrite engine. This will allow us to begin controlling how URLs should be displayed. Then, we're specifying a rewrite base. The rewrite base is the list of folders relative to the root domain. I'm currently inside my Udemy folder, so that's what will be inputted here. Next, all requests made to our site and any directories will be handled by the index.php file. There are some flags in place before this though. These flags will make sure to display files that exist like image files. If the files or directories don't exist, then everything will be passed onto the index.php file. The way the image displays and WordPress doesn't have to use any CPU or bandwidth to handle the request. This bit of code is what makes WordPress have a clean URL structure. Keep in mind that this is only part of it, but a very important part nonetheless. As an extra precaution, WordPress provides this page which stores the original contents of the htaccess file. I'll provide a link in the resource section of this lecture. If you ever break the htaccess file, then just copy and paste this into the file and you should be good to go. Open HeidiSQL and view the options table. Look for an option named rewrite_rules. If you were to open this options value, you'll find that the WordPress core, plugins, and themes all take the time to modify this option. It's pretty extensive. This is where all the rewrite rules are stored. We are more than allowed to use the Options API to modify this option, but that's too risky. Alright, enough talk. Let's use this API. Like I said before, this will be a light introduction to this API. Right now, I have the activation function opened up for our plugin. I've run into a problem where when I create a custom post type, it won't work because the URLs aren't flushed. This varies from site to site, but the problem is all the same. To fix this, you can go into the Settings Permalinks page and just click Update for the rules to be rewritten. However, this is a pain, and we always just want our plugin to work out of the box. We can flush the rules ourselves with code. There are only two steps we need to do. The first step is to first register the custom post type. Despite this being done in the init function, WordPress won't run the init function when the plugin is activated. We have to call this function manually. We previously named this recipe init, which contains the registration of our post type. We have to register it as it contains the URL rewrite. We can now flush the rules by calling the function called flush rewrite rules. This function will update the rewrite rules. Since we registered our post type, WordPress will be able to find out that there is a new URL structure to account for. It'll update the rewrite rules appropriately. Try deactivating and reactivating your plugin. You should receive no errors. Just like that, we were able to flush the rewrite rules and have our plugin compatible with most WordPress sites. This step is super important if you plan on creating custom post types. Let me go over what's going on in detail. When a user makes a request to our site, WordPress will check the Rewrite Rules option inside the database and determine what page to load based on the rules. WordPress will grab the URL and then go through each rule. It will try and match the URL to each rule. Once it finds a match, WordPress will then make the correct queries and load the template for that page. If it doesn't find a rule that matches, then WordPress will return a 404 error. The rewrite rules are highly sensitive. WordPress does not check for changes on every page request. When we created our post type, we created a brand new URL structure. However, WordPress does not save the changes. So in our activation function, we told WordPress about the new URL structure. Then, we told WordPress to add this new rule by calling the flush rewrite rules function. The reason we do not call this function inside the init function is because it's not recommended by WordPress. If you think about it, constantly telling WordPress to update its rules on every page load is inefficient. It can also open yourself up to security vulnerabilities.